Hello guys, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Natasha.
And we were wondering,
are you free for coffee?
Welcome.
Hey guys.
How's everybody been? It's finally spring.
It is getting there. It is.
So that's a good thing.
It's been strangely humid and wet in Texas. We have the cold in the morning, hot by noon situation in full effect. So, and the mosquitoes are back. And have you had them over here yet?
No.
Oh, they're in full effect.
I haven't
dealt with them. They love me. They love me.
Oh, guys, an update. Bennifer got engaged.
Oh my gosh,
Jen
that's right.
and Ben.
You know what? When I saw it, I was like, "Good for Lisa."
Isn't that so great?
Good for Lisa.
I'm so happy for them.
I forgot until right now.
I am so happy.
Weren't they engaged before?
Yes, they were.
Not at all raining on anything. I'm just curious.
No, they were. And
Yeah.
he gave her a pink diamond. And this time he gave her a green, which I didn't even know there were green diamonds.
I have to look this up. I didn't either.
So she says that green is like her lucky color.
Baby, I ain't mad. I
So
guess he
that's
said, I'm
why
going to make this happen
right,
this time.
so that's why I guess he went with the green. So she's saying that and all the
gorgeous guys.
I do like green, but I don't know if I want a green diamond. But
I
that all the
do.
pivotal moments in her life, the special moments, either she was wearing green or there was green had something to do with it.
Baby.
So that's her lucky color.
Let me
so he
tell
got
y'all,
her.
I need y'all to Google this diamond.
Green diamond. So
I
little
need y'all to Google
update
this. Okay.
about second chances
Whoop, whoop.
and all of that.
That is, yeah, I did see it and I thought, good for Lisa. This is going to make her day.
I'm so happy. I really am so happy for them. And it just shows you that, second chances can work out.
Yes.
Because I think some people maybe
sometimes
don't.
All you do is have to reflect and think, "Ooh, I wouldn't do that again," or "Oh, I could have handled that differently." And then it will work out. I genuinely believe that.
And then just grow up.
Yes, I agree.
You know what I mean?
I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I was like, you know what? You deserve happiness. And I'm going to say this because I saw this like snarky comment or whatever online, which the internet is full of, those people. And it was like, she's had more rings than, I can't think of it now. It just left my mind, but
put your claws in.
I was just like, you know what though? There are people every day who say yes because they were shocked. They were in the moment. They want to be married, but they're not even sure they want to be married to that person. But you're on the spot and you say yes. Because especially now they've made these proposals such a huge thing. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to be like, I need a minute to think. It's like, it's massive. And you're just, yes. Because you don't know what else to say. And so I'm like, when I read it, I was just like, you probably just mad. Ain't nobody asked you. That's really what it is.
But I give them props because they keep trying.
Yeah.
And I love that about her and him and people that do, because a lot of people get hurt and then
one time and give up. Yes.
You're not going to get up to bat again.
They write off everybody. Well,
so,
all of this is bad.
And they
keep
keep trying.
Yes.
And
I really pray this is their happily ever after. I really do.
Me too.
I do.
I'm happy for him. So I'm excited. Yay!
Yeah, no, I'm clapping.
We haven't heard any, wedding plans or anything. No. So the engagement's pretty new. So we'll keep y'all posted.
Yes.
So speaking of weddings
and engagements,
getting married, our topic today,
going a little different route here.
According to divorce attorneys, these are the 5 top professions that a woman should avoid in a spouse. Now, they did not give reasons why, but we're going to talk about it because we have thoughts. We have opinions. So now they're in no particular order. We're just, So one is firemen as a profession to avoid.
Okay.
So let's break that down.
I have some thoughts.
Number one for me is it's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous. And I feel like somebody that does that probably is an adrenaline junkie.
That runs into fires.
Well, you know, and you probably got some other issues. Those are the same kind of people that drag race and do foolishness like that. I'm thinking. Now, I don't know. I have not dated a fireman and I have not been married to a fireman. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that would be how that
personality
thinks.
Perhaps.
So, that's what I'm thinking. Why would you think?
So mine was, this is so high stress. Like, that was my thing. This is so high stress. Like, it's such a high stress job, and it's really long hours. It's really long
overnight.
Hours. It's overnight.
Yeah.
It's, you know, there is no, baby, I need you to come home, such and such happen. It doesn't work that way. So one of my favorite coffee shops that's local, Mudleaf Coffee, one of the owners, husband and wife, he's the most unlikely fireman ever. Like, when I first met him and she said I was like, really? Like, just not the job you see with him. Like, he's not a meathead. He's so cool, calm, and collected. And I'm like, yeah, you're not going to be a fireman forever. Like, I just couldn't see. He doesn't match the persona. But then I meet people all the time that I'm like, this makes sense for you. Like, I do think adrenaline. I think
they would be helpful, and you know, they probably have a heart to help. I'm thinking so that that's the good side of it. But I do see some negatives.
Oh, for sure.
So
and the danger. My gosh.
And the danger. So, you know, that's not fun to, you know, always be wondering if your spouse is going to come
safe.
home.
Yes.
Yeah, or is safe. Okay, so the second one is police officer.
Yep.
So in recent
so many reasons,
months and years, we've all seen how that can go off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
They're put in very high stress situations.
Yes.
They don't always keep their cool.
No.
And you know, you're in a situation where you kind of get to play God a little bit.
You do. Absolutely.
So I imagine that's
you are judge and jury. Yes.
And also, now, you know, I don't have stats for this. You know, I love stats, y'all, but for this one, I do not have. But we've all heard stories about abused women,
yes,
and that are married to police officers.
And where do you turn?
Because they have that code,
yes,
where nobody talks,
yes,
and so if she calls the police,
right,
nothing happens.
Nothing really happens,
and that's even putting her in more danger.
Even more danger.
So that's kind of a scary thing. And so I know you're thinking, like, well, you know, I wouldn't marry anybody abusive. Well, nobody does.
No.
Nobody thinks that their spouse is going to be abusive.
Most people do not go into it thinking that is what it's going to be.
So that's an issue.
Yes.
With that. Yes. And I'm not saying.
I remember reading this article, and they divorced, they reconciled, and then they ended up splitting permanently. And the lady said that every serious conversation, she felt like she was being interrogated. Like, she was like, it in the beginning, it turned off. And, you know, her thing was, he came home. But over time, it didn't turn off. Like, it didn't turn off. And it became a major problem, because at some point you probably go into this and you're kind of equals and you're a team. And then it becomes, you get in this world of, well, I know stuff you don't know. And she said it became a
kind
power.
Of one-up you.
Yes, a one-up thing, a power dynamic. And she was like, I felt like I couldn't present anything where I wasn't met with like a headbutting type of challenge. I know from personal experience, there is some focus on mental health, but overall,
it's not enough.
It's not enough.
And I think that's the commonality of all these professions that we're going to discuss today.
Yes.
These are not jobs that are easily left at your place of employment.
No.
You know, it's hard to leave it at the door.
All of you need a therapist.
Yeah.
All of you need someone who you can talk to.
Those are problems. And, and let me preface this. You know, you might be married to a fireman or policeman or one of these other professions. You know, there are great guys in every profession.
Yeah.
And they're assholes in every profession. Now, you could have an asshole garbage man, or
doctor,
lawyer, dentist, whatever. And, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So we're not saying that, and please don't take this personally.
No.
This is just what divorce attorneys have learned,
seen. Yeah.
Over, and we're just going to talk about it. So, do you.
Right.
You do you, and you know what's best.
Your thing.
But we're just
going down
giving
the list.
you some thoughts.
Yes.
Thoughts and opinions. Okay, the next is military men. And I personally would kind of put that in the same category as the police officers.
It is.
Because it's just that same type of mentality.
Most of my family is military.
I was thinking
and
about
I'm over here thinking, yep.
Well, and some of it is just their mindset. They're and I don't know how to say this without being offensive, but they are followers. But you have to be a follower to stay safe and to do what you need to do. So they are, we're going to follow the rules and follow the your
this
officer.
The yep.
And there's a pecking order to it. So I can see where that's a thing. They are very rigid.
Yes.
And for them to stay sane and safe, you have to be rigid.
Yeah. But that is not a good attribute for marriage.
Right. Or in a relationship. There's no give and take. It is what it is. It's a lot of black and white.
Yes.
So I think that would probably be problematic.
Yes.
And depending on the job in the military, there could be a lot of travel. You might not be able to put roots down for long. That could be problematic for a marriage. Everybody can't do that.
Yes.
And deployment.
Yes.
Going to unsafe places, going to wars.
Yes, hard to communicate, where it's hard to, Wi-Fi is not readily available, so even FaceTime is difficult.
And then once again, worrying about your spouse being safe. Mm-hmm. So those are not easy things to overcome. So those three kind of are in the same category.
So funny fact. My grandfather, who would not mind me mentioning this because he'll probably laugh, has been all three of those.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I can see he's military. You need the same thing.
You need
the
same mentality, the same approach. And he's been married a very long time to his wife, and she's lovely. I just love her. And I always tell her, God bless your soul, because I've met this man and I don't know how you're still just hanging on there. But he did tell me, he was like, you learn from your mistakes. And the first go round, it had to be this way. We're up at this time. Breakfast is served at this time. You make your bed. If you're not sick, you get up. And that's who he is. That's how he is. Everything has a cadence. You don't miss a beat. That's just who he is. And he was like, I realized everyone didn't join the military. I did, for my own reasons. So I had to stop treating people as if
they were in the military.
They were in the same
a lot of people say that, like their children and their spouses are kind of thrown into those same situations.
Yes.
And that's
there
sometimes
is no
not
sleeping
cool.
in. Yes. Like sometimes when my mom kept a diary, and so that gives you, some insight. And even him being just very honest about some of his past mistakes and things that he would have done differently, which again is why we love Bennifer, because it's, you kind of get a do-over and you want to do it right.
Get it right, hopefully.
And I hear him and I'm just like, yeah, there's no way. And we're very alike. So we know we could have never, it would have, our personality, because if you tell me to wake up at 6, I'm going to wake up at 6:05 just to piss you off.
Right.
Like, why
just because.
Just because. Why are we waking up at 6? But ironically, he has been all three. And so I know there is a certain mentality that is best suited for those positions, to keep them safe, to keep them all of those things. But it may not be the best mentality to take into marriage.
Yes.
You have to be able to,
or you
keep
have
it
to
separate.
be a type of person that can deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
But on the good side, all three of those professions, they're the type of people that run in when everybody else is running out.
Listen, and it's the truth.
And that's just such
it's
a beautiful thing.
Yes, absolutely.
And, we need them and we're thankful to them.
Yes.
We appreciate them.
Yes.
But we talked about marriage right now.
And if you are a spouse or partner of someone in that field and they are treating you well and y'all are doing it, I commend
you. Yes.
Because that is not a
what was meant to
concern.
be. So I
That's
guess that's
true.
what we're saying.
Yeah.
Everybody,
But
there are
still
some women that are
kudos,
cut
'cause-
out for that.
yes.
I mean, and they might have had a father that
because
was one
you
of those
come home
things.
smelling
they're
like smoke, and I'm like, did you run into a freaking fire? I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
And then there's some people where they're like, hey, babe,
it's not a thing.
you want steak? What
So
do you want?
just have to decide for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so another one is surgeons. Now it specified surgeons, not just physicians, not dermatologists,
yes,
surgeons
for a reason.
Yes, so
yet again we get to play God.
Yeah, it's a God complex with that one.
It is.
So their hands are in people's
bodies.
bodies,
worked with surgeons,
and cutting people open.
They're a different type of. They're cut from a different cloth
and like to cut. Like that's the thing. Like, oh, no cutting today.
Yes, they're from a different cloth.
Yeah. So that's.
I could totally see that.
That's that with them. Of course, very brilliant and talented and all that thing, all the things, but might be a problem.
Who's number 5?
Number 5 is pilots.
Same thing. Come on.
No. Okay, now this is my take on pilots. I guess I've been watching too many Lifetime movies.
Okay.
I think it would be too easy to lie if you were a pilot.
Of course.
They are in all, they spend days away.
You wake up in Texas
and you go somewhere else. You can have a whole nother family in another state, and nobody's the wiser.
No one's going to check
so
you.
that would be my thing. Not so much.
Well, but long hours. I mean, maybe not the God complex, but like.
Well, no, I knew somebody that was married to a pilot. And not so much.
Really?
They don't, now it used to be, I don't know, things could have changed, but they don't work, they can only work so many hours. So they typically
I guess that makes
really
sense. You're flying
don't,
a plane.
They might work, I can't remember what it was, but it only ended up to like a couple days a week or something.
Okay.
When you really, so he had a lot of free time. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know. It could change. There's been COVID and there's been
all these
9/11. There's been things that could have changed. Yeah. But kind of like truck drivers, how they can only go so many miles.
The truck drivers, another one, be having them other things.
Yes. So I don't know. Pilots could have changed. But that's how it used to be.
Is the other family
I think you just would have a lot of opportunity to
and
lie, and that would be a problem for me. Not that they're going to, but they could.
Yeah,
and that's my thing about finding people online too. Now I know everybody does it, and I'm not mad at you, and I'm never going to say never.
That's your concern,
but I just you have
a lot of opportunity to lie.
And how would anybody know? And it's just that's
until you're
already
vested and in it,
right?
And then it's like, oh well, this was a lie, like. Yikes.
So those are the 5, but I have an honorable mention. Now, this is just my opinion.
Okay.
This might not be true, but I think a psychiatrist / psychologist, because they would know what buttons to push, wouldn't they? Would you hate to be married? Like, I don't want anybody analyzing me and telling me how crazy I am and stuff.
One of my first jobs out of college, I won't say where just because of all of this, but anyway, the director, I'm trying to remember the order here, the program director, so over not the department but like the programs, was a psychiatrist, and she was married, and I thought, I mean, they seemed very like they really belonged together, fit really well, everything. And so anyway, next thing you know, she wasn't married, and I was like, oh, I mean, but I'm young, and I knew better than to ask why, but she ended up breaking down one day, and she was like, he felt like everything I did, I was analyzing him, or I was working it a certain way. And you could tell by the conversation, she really wasn't, but it got to him. Like in his head, that was the perception of every conversation about finance, everything about, are we ready to start having a baby? Like he felt like that. And so I was like, whether they are or whether they are not, they are. It's one of those, it's like that, whether you believe you can or you can't. You're true. You're right. And because I really don't believe that she was, but I could see where that would mess with me. Like, did you just say that?
Maybe that is just me, but I just kind of feel like.
But when you said it, I laughed because actually every psychologist or psychiatrist I've known has been a woman. And all of them have stated that it's been an issue in their marriage.
I could see that.
And I know 3.
I don't know if I could do it. That would be my thought.
Yeah.
Like,
I think people think it like, because you know their profession.
Right.
So you automatically kind of start in your head, you're like, are you like
kind of gaslighting you?
Yes.
Like he's thinking I'm crazy.
And it's not funny.
Although I am, but
she was
we're
so
all
heartbroken
crazy,
and so hurt. And I wasn't, I'm not a fly on the wall, but I just, from the way she said, I don't really think that she would. I think it just got to him. And I could see that. I could totally see where he's thinking, are you placating me? Or are you gaslighting me? Like, what's going on here?
So the funny thing with this survey, it was 5 professions that women should avoid in a spouse. So it would be interesting to know, since women can be all of these same professions,
yes.
would it, on the flip side, would it be for men?
I do.
And I don't know.
I kind of wondered that myself because, again.
But the issues would be the same. I mean, because I think no matter who you are, your spouse would be concerned if you're going into dangerous places.
Yes.
And maybe even more so, a man worried about his wife. Because just traditionally and given our roles, even though roles are changing, but it's just traditional roles. I could see where that would be a concern.
You know what I think, though?
I don't know, women surgeons.
I do, I know too.
Would they be that way? I don't know if they would.
They're two of
the same.
The joke is that the women are always the best and the men are always the worst. I worked in a hospital and even among the physicians, like, that was the joke.
But I mean, personality-wise, I wonder.
The women are always so chill, so calm, so nice.
And they're women pilots, too.
And the men are always very God complex. But I was
wonder, you wonder where it falls along gender. In terms of, their actions and how this plays out in a relationship.
Yeah.
And on both sides, it depends on the spouse.
It does.
And
depends
what
on the person.
Their issues are and the whole thing. Yeah. But that would be interesting because for this particular study, it was women
and who are married to one of these professions. Yeah.
So
you know what I think, though? I think of those professions.
Or women that are married to these women.
Yeah.
It could be. We don't know. It doesn't state.
But I think typically women, and this is statistically, I want to say it's probably judged by heteronormative women. I'm not sure if it's women or hetero women or what
they didn't specify.
Yeah, but the thing I'm thinking is women are more likely to go to counseling, and that's a fact. So in all of these cases, if a woman is then more likely to seek to maintenance her mental health, to go in and say, oh my gosh, like this body was charred to a crisp and this, that, and the other. Maybe they're not taking as much home. I just wonder. I'm just curious. I'm just kind of thinking that.
I guess it depends on the, like we're saying with roles and specifically gender roles, if men are kind of feeling that makes them weak or, they have some issues with that. It's not modeled for
them. They just feel like, well, no one else
does
it.
Where women don't have that usually. But I mean, you would still have issues.
Yes.
No matter and your sex, women, if you were one of these
we're
things.
So nurturing.
These are heavy professions.
They're heavy. We're so nurturing. We're going to call someone. I have a pretty heavy profession. And you do ask me, like, I don't know how you do this. How was this? Or what happened with that? Where my husband actually works real close to one of those professions. And none of his friends are like, hey, you have a really heavy job. How was your day? So I don't know. I just wonder if those differences, I'm just curious. I'm just for the sake of my curiosity.
And, the whole thing, like we're saying, this in no way is a blanket statement that all these people are this way. That we're just saying these could be some issues. These are things that attorneys have noticed.
Yes.
So, if there's some abuse going on in this, abuse is not just hitting.
No.
So there, it can be verbal, financial, emotional. Yep. And I just want to kind of give a little shout out to Netflix's miniseries Maid, MAID.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys have not watched it, please
It's worth the watch.
It really is. It's kind of heartbreaking.
But it does make you rethink
wonderful.
What is domestic violence?
It is.
What is family violence?
She is not physically abused.
But she's abused,
But
y'all.
she is abused.
Yeah.
And this kind of gets you thinking, because I can see in these professions where, now, of course, it could be physical, because that could be in any profession, mind
for sure.
you. But I could see where this could be some emotional and verbal and some things going on with these types of jobs.
Yes.
So that's something that kind of gives you a little insight into it. Now, if you're listening and you feel like this is you, I just want to give you the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. And here in North Texas, we have the Genesis Women's Shelter.
Yes.
And they are building a new facility.
Yes.
They're an awesome organization. So if you are local in North Texas, the Genesis hotline is 214-946-4357. And if you are not in a place that you can call, you can text. There's a number that you can text. It's 214-946-4357. And you might just not know. Maybe you just need to talk to somebody and just, this is my situation.
Yeah.
And there's somebody at these numbers that can talk to you and just help
and
you.
be non-biased.
Yes.
And actually
non-judgmental.
Yes.
And just talk to you.
And I guess lastly, for those tidbits, I'll say, as someone who worked domestic violence for years, you can also go to their website, and in the top right-hand corner, actually all along the top, there's an escape button.
Yes.
If you click escape, it actually removes it from your search history.
So
if you're worried about
seeing it,
if you're worried about your phone bill showing a strange number, I'm not sure with the text.
No, I don't know about the text, but it did have that, because I hid it because I didn't know what it was.
Yes,
when I was
it takes it away.
It's really cool,
and you can search with all your might. It's not going to be there. So I want to offer that up as well.
Yes.
As a safety measure in case anyone were to look at, or what are you doing? Then it's gone. It's really gone, and it's not in the search history, which is really, really important.
So if you're married to one of those people, or not, just someone else, and you've got some issues and you need to talk, those numbers are there and they're available for you.
Yes.
So on to Sexiest Man Alive.
Oh, I wasn't ready.
I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
I am going to pick Mark Wahlberg.
Oh,
and he's kind
Mr.
of
Calvin Klein himself.
Yeah, but what I like about him, he's kind of I don't know how to say this in a way. Tom Hanks in a way. Okay. Tom Hanks-ish. In that he's just kind of a normal guy, like a cute normal guy. You know what I mean?
I guess
not like super, super hot for me. I mean, I just see him as kind of, and all the movies to me, the ones that I see that he plays in, he's kind of a normal guy. Of course, he does a lot of action-y things. But I just think he's cute. And recently, he's been in a movie, I want to say it's called Father's Stew.
Yes.
Where he had to gain weight, and it's about a Catholic priest
who had a real colorful past, and it's based on a true story.
And that's so awesome. And he was talking about his faith and him going to mass, and his kids go to parochial school, and it's so cool. So I kind of was crushing on him a little bit.
That's fair. He was my real life crush for a long time. So mine, and this has nothing to do with anything, but he is hot. And I'm actually shocked I haven't done it, probably because I can't pronounce his last name. So I'm going to get it wrong, but you all will look it up and know who I'm talking about. He's married to Sofia Vergara.
Sofia, who? Oh.
Vergara.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Is it Manganiello?
I'm not sure. Okay, I know who you're talking about.
So I don't know how to say it. But anyway, he is gorgeous.
For sure. I'll butcher it. He is
But
so
you all
cute.
know I'm a vampire girl. So I remember reading the Sookie Stackhouse series and being in love with Alcide, who
was he in that? Was he a vampire?
No, he's a werewolf. He's a werewolf.
Oh, okay. Well,
But
same thing.
No, it's not the same. They're so different. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have a whole episode breaking this down. They're not the same.
Okay.
That's my husband. It's the same thing. It's like, no, it's not. Seriously?
I didn't know he was in one of those.
Yes, so he had a breakout role as a werewolf. And anyway, that's not the point. The point is, I loved the character in the book. And out of the entire True Blood HBO thing, he was the one character that I felt kind of matched the book. Like for me, you know, when you read a book, it's all about interpretation. How do you see this person? But I remember the first time I saw him, I was like, oh yes,
he's
that is
perfect.
That's
one.
him.
Yeah.
Fanning myself. I was
He
like,
is
oh yes,
very cute. They've been married
awesome.
quite a while too,
Since
haven't they?
2015.
Oh, wow.
And I love her. I
do.
I like
I
her.
do too. They're
I
a
love
cute
her
couple.
voice. She just cracks me up. They're cute together. And
so cute.
And I remember she made a comment like she thought he was going to be like this stuck up a-hole, and he was really, really sweet. But yeah, so he is my sexiest man alive.
Oh,
I can't believe I hadn't
is.
picked him yet.
He is. Okay.
He is.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and have a cup of coffee. We'll catch you next time.
Okay, loves. Thank you for grabbing a chair and joining us for coffee. Please subscribe to Are You Free for Coffee podcast wherever you are listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and find joy in the little things. Until next time.